Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to talk about a super cool technology today, and this is for dealing with data on the back end, more specifically, analyzing your data on the back end. Especially if, actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, especially if you're not an analyst, but I think an analyst would also get a lot out of this technology, and it's called Metabase. So, Metabase is basically a tool that allows you to very easily hook up to your database. So you install it on the back end, and you can do it super easily with a Docker container. When I first got set up, it literally took me about 10 minutes to get it going. I was blown away at how easy it was. And then you just hook it up with your database. So whether that's MySQL, Postgres, I think it supports things like BigQuery and Redshift or whatever, basically anything that has SQL. And then you can start asking questions about your data. And it is insanely cool. It allows you to select like a starting point from your database. So for example, a users table. I'm going to go with this users comments, post thing again because it's super easy. So you could have, for example, a users table, but better still, it will allow you to do left joins, right joins, inner joins, all of that kind of stuff using a really stunningly beautiful interface. Like, honestly, I'm absolutely blown away by this interface. It is amazing. You can even have calculated columns. You can add your own calculated columns once you've finished doing all of your joins. And as you're joining the data, you can actually have a look like along the way what your data results look like as you're joining it. So it's actually much nicer than writing native SQL. However, if you like, you can also write native SQL. And so once you've done this, once you've kind of like created it like a table with your data, and it supports things like views, of course, as well. So maybe you have a view that's got a lot of your data already organized for you. You can then start grouping that data. You can start doing all the like MySQL goodness with it, and you can start graphing the data. So you can build like these really beautiful graphs with it. In fact, let me come and have a look at my one for Quasarcast. It's amazing because I set up Quasarcast and was like, oh, I just want to know some stats about, just some stats about, what my numbers for like user signups and that kind of thing. And I was very easily able to get that set up with Metabase, and I can see that I've got 76 users currently signed up. I can see when they signed up. I can see I've got like a chart here that I created that gives me the number of users that signed up by day, so I can see like what my growth is looking like, and if I need to do like try and push more in the future to try and get more signups or whatever. I don't even know if how much I'll actually use that kind of data. I've got like a users cumulative growth, which shows me like my new users being added over time. It's just insanely cool, like the kind of analytics that you can get ridiculously easily. In fact, we're using this at work at the moment. So I work for an agriculture analytics company, and right now we're mostly focusing on collection and then exporting the data that we collect to something like Excel so that the agronomists can look at it. But we're gradually trying to move more to online platforms. And Metabase is something that they can understand. And by the way, once you've built your graphs and all that kind of stuff, you can then put it onto a dashboard. So I have a dashboard in front of me right now for Quasarcast that is showing me, all the information I want to know about, user signups and all that kind of stuff. It's like insanely cool. So if you've got data and you're not using it at the moment, then check out metabase.com. By the way, it's totally free. I think you can pay for their like online version where they host it for you or whatever, but it's totally free to use. So just install that on the back end, connect it to your database, and you will have a ridiculously easy to use interface where you can start asking questions about your data. Honestly, I've become like obsessed with this tool. In fact, I'm going to click around and like give you an idea of what you can do. So I've just gone into ask a question. I can do a simple question where I can basically just click a row from my data and quickly turn that into a graph, based on some fields in my data. I can do a custom question where you can start doing like left joins, right joins and all that, or I can do a native query. And by the way, you can then build queries off of queries. So if you start with a really basic query or like a basic question, you can then build questions off of those questions. So kind of like querying off queries, like kind of like building views in your SQL language. It's just so insanely cool. You've really just got to kind of have a look at it to check it out. So, by the end of this podcast, make sure you get out your phone. If you're driving, obviously don't do it while you're in the car, but jump into your computer next opportunity you get and just go to metabase.com and have a look at how insanely cool this is. It's all open sourced. I believe they're using React on the back end. Obviously we're Vue fans because we use Quasar, but that doesn't matter because you're not changing the code anyway. It's a real wonder to use. So check that out. Metabase.com, one of my favorite tools for analyzing data. And in the next episode, I might actually talk about what I use for an alternative to Google Analytics. So for analyzing my data. I've looked at a few options for that, and there is one that I ended up landing on, which is free. It's got some paid options, but it's free and does everything I need for getting some analysis on the people that land on my website. So, check out metabase.com. Thank you for listening. And the first one we talked about was Vuex ORM, and today we talked about Metabase, just as a quick recap. Check out quasarcast.com/register if you want to learn Quasar through videos, quasarcast.com/register. And of course, check out metabase.com before the day is out. Thanks for listening.